every story comes from somewhere. It's like that deep inside. This is what we are talking about, brand building. I don't believe words just kind of drop into your head without any meaning. There must be some meaning to it. And then my job with my team was to actually dig out those meanings and find a reason and connect the two and find a solution to what that story could be.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lynn here, and I have a good friend Delia who I met recently at a women's business event. But why we really clicked is that we're both into branding, and she's been in the branding space for many years, and we thought we'd get together, share with you about why it's important to build up a brand and how we even got how did I even pick my name or the businesses that I've had in the past, and kind of have an open conversation to discuss the topic of branding, because it is a very important element of a business. So Delia, let's talk a little bit about your, introduce yourself and the business that you were in before.
Yeah, so my name is Delia, and I've been running my agency for 16 years now. It's called Bubblefish. We service over 300 businesses. 50% of them will be in Australia, and the other was, China, UAE, America, everywhere around the country, Ghana and Africa. So I started when I was 20, kind of fell into it, and I built the agency over 2 cities in Sydney and Jakarta. And that's how how
did you get inspired to start an agency in the first place?
I was second year of uni, and then I was just working really, doing freelancing work. And suddenly this opportunity just came and land onto my lap. And I just started really building businesses from startups or small businesses. And I just loved doing it. And then at that time, there were no Facebook, Google, it was just all yellow pages. So we were helping a lot of businesses that was brick and mortar and moving into the digital side. So all those websites and digital brands.
Okay, and tell us about your current business, which is a really interesting software or app that she's built around the branding space as well. So yeah, share with the audience.
Yeah, so about a year ago, I launched an app with 2 of my business partners. It's called Brand Ready. It's an app of a one-click check for all of your brand needs. So if you are thinking of new ideas or new names, you can just plug in your name, your brand name, into this app. It will show you whether it's available or not. So it's a really good, cool app to have.
Yeah, so basically the challenge is when you come up with a name, you have to go on Google and you search around, like, do I have this domain? I mean, what other domains that I could actually have? But then it's also all the social media channels like TikTok, Instagram, and all that. I love that your app, you basically just enter one name, and I was able to tell that, crap, there's still these channel handles that I haven't claimed yet. So let's talk about what's the importance of branding in the sense where you've mentioned in the past where you've had clients that got sued or trademarking issues all around the branding.
Yeah, I think from my agency, Bubblefish, we've come across a lot of stories that's part of brand building. When I refer to brand building, it's not just about the vanity of just the look and feel and the logos, the colors and likes and followers, but it's really going deep into the personal sense of why you start your business. And I met this lady who actually owned a video productions company. And after running it, building it up, a startup for a year and a half, she finally found a letter, from a legal thread that says you need to take down your name or we are going to sue you. So she went and then called me in a bit of a panic and said, what do we do? I've built all this brand, customers, everything, right? Which is, it's all that you have in business. If you lost your brand, your identity, then you have to start again from scratch. So that kind of opened up the door of like, how come people don't do these checks? How come no one really thought about trademarking? I mean, to be honest, at that time, I thought it wasn't that necessary. But then after that experience and seeing a lot more other businesses who went out of business, we really seriously thought about doing a serious work in brand building and actually registering it. So from that one experience, I found other stories where this lady built an empire of Amazon business, and then she also received the same legal threat letter, and then she literally had to chuck away all of her product on Amazon and start again. So this is the horror story from brand building when you don't think and invest for long term. But this is just some of the first thing that you must think about when you are thinking about brand building.
Yeah. So I guess for me, I always give my honest advice here is that my first business, I got too worked up on the actual branding too soon.
Yes.
Meaning I had a nail polish business and I was trying to follow the rules, like find a name, trademark, did all this, but I haven't actually even sold to anybody yet. And then I got a
Plenty of them.
Yeah, I've got a few clients. So I think it's a balance between like validating your idea, get
That's
it
right.
working.
That's right.
Would you recommend like at least just buying the domain, .com and .com.au if you're in Australia, for example, and then kind of build up your business a little bit before you start to, buy more assets and then trademarking?
I would say always test. Put your customer first and make sure that you've got a customer, validate your idea before you go anywhere. I've got lots of stories in the 300 brands that we have built in the past 16 years. From, coming up with an idea and then let's just invest $100,000 into building a brand, did everything else without actually validating any market. That's a no-no. But what I'm talking about is when you've got an idea, test it out. If it isn't a nail polish business, then I would probably go into those salons, get them to try it out, or nowadays Instagram it or markets. And when you've got validation of that, then you can invest in the IPs and the rest of it. Yes, having the domain is important, but I think it goes hand in hand with just having the domain and some of the socials. If you're in a nail polish business, then probably it's going to be Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. That's a must-have. If someone already owned that name, I would recommend for you to probably think about it before actually registering and going out and about and building and investing in your stories. That will be my...
Yeah. And I love that your app is so quick for you to test different names,
Yeah,
you can
that's
just
right.
kind of put the name in and it shows all of the different channels straight away. So that's really good.
So I think it's the whole idea of... The question that I asked was, how come a lot of people don't actually do these tests or these checks? Then it come on me when I am an entrepreneur. I thought of an idea, and I think you will be the same. We just jump into it. So I thought of an idea. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be like a multi-million dollar, or we're gonna be building a unicorn, and let's just go ahead and do it. But this actually allows us, the fast mover, to do one check and then give you that validation whether that should be something that you should be investing your time and effort when you go and sleep at night.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk about the name choices. So like when I first started out over 11 years ago, I had a marketing agency and we didn't understand anything about branding and we just came up with a name so randomly. So I had a business partner at the time. She had red hair. She was Irish and I was black hair. So we called it Red and Black Solutions.
Wow.
And then it was really challenging to kind of come up with the story behind the brand, like what are we living for, like what does it mean? And so, but now that I've had a few businesses, I care a lot more about branding. I kind of go like, what does this name mean and what is my story? Why am I doing this business? I don't want to just do a business to make money, but like what is what motivates me every day?
That's
you
right.
know. And when you have a story like that, it makes it easier to really sell your business. Do you agree? And just first of all, picking just any business, coming up with some random name because you don't care.
Yeah.
So how would that affect your success?
Well, if you ask me when I started my agency when I was 20, I don't think I've got all the
So it was a random name as well.
It was a random name. Yeah, Bubblefish was a random name that I was speaking to one of my friends and we kind of just bounced off ideas. Yeah, I like bubble and I like the fish. Yeah, let's just put it together. That's how it started when I was 20 in the uni. Second year of my uni. But you know what? I would think that every story comes from somewhere. It's like that deep inside. This is what we are talking about, brand building. I don't believe words just kind of drop into your head without any meaning. There must be some meaning to it. And then my job with my team was to actually dig out those meanings and find a reason and connect the two and find a solution to what that story could be. My mentor would always say, building a brand is like building a nest. A bird will just come into different places throughout the journey and it will pick out every strand of those pieces and eventually build a nest. and that becomes your brand building. It's a beautiful story. So for me, even though the name Bubblefish probably at the beginning was like a random name, but in the 16 years of my journey, I found and realized those names actually had an impact for me. So from this girl who's probably a bit afraid within living in a bubble, but she finally popped the bubble and she came out, and then the story came into scaling up out of my own comfort zone. So that's what I do when I help businesses. It's about taking them outside of their comfort zone and then scaling them up into the next level. So there's always a reason. I don't think.
Well, at least you have to find a reason.
That's
so
right.
If you haven't got a name, then at least don't make the mistake like us and just pick some random weird names. But really, would you say brainstorm things about yourself and kind of analyze yourself so that you could some keywords would pop up? Is that how you would do it if you were to do it? From like imagine 20 years back then, right? You know what you know now. How would you come up with the name? What would be the process?
I think I would be a lot more strategic in terms of coming up with a name. Knowing what I know when I was 20, yes, there is some reason of like the truth. There will be some truth that comes from it. But about building it, I would need some sort of like strategic and a framework in terms of asking those questions. The question could be, how did you come up with the name? What sort of name that actually resonates to you? And nowadays, people just come up with random names, but then it actually takes a lot of work and money to invest in making it into a household brand, right? So I would always say, start first with what you do and why you are here. When you start with that, then a few of those names would actually pop into your head, and then you work backwards. Rather than what name actually be suitable, but then you think about what is it that that I do, so that I can actually come up and communicate that well and easily for your audience. So always think about your customer, who you are actually speaking to, and always think about your purpose of where you want to go, and those will be the bridge to connect the two. Obviously, you will need someone that actually help you to counsel you in coming up with the right name. That's how I would go about it.
Yeah. And what would you say in terms of being able to actually build a strong brand, not just the name, not just the logo, but like core, the brand when you just feel it comes from the core? Like what would you say the methods would be or strategy would be to continue to build a strong brand?
To build a strong brand is to build up day in, day out, every single day. This is not a one-off get rich quick scheme where you can just build a brand and you make it big. I know there's a lot of gurus out there that gives you the cheat sheet 1, 2, 3 and everything else. There's nothing like that. When we are talking about a strong brand, it's where time are built between, yes, you are focusing in your brand external expression, I would call. Brand building takes time.
And building a brand, we always tell customers, if you want to start building a YouTube channel and be that Oprah in your field, don't expect overnight success.
That's right.
She wasn't built overnight either.
Exactly.
She turned up every single week on that particular time, and she's there, and she's just an authentic person. She really just showed up as herself. So that's why I really love her as an inspiration, where you can be yourself, you talk the truth, and you consistently turn up, and that's how you build an impact and influence.
Yeah, and I would say probably it's not just the power of building more stuff or creating more content, but it's actually specifically talking about the content that is really, really good for your brand, but also stick true to who you are. Your brand is about yourself. It's about your identity. So it's sometimes it's a process of minimizing the amount of content and the amount of services that you will be offering to your clients for you to be able to be known in your specific niche.
I love that idea. We don't want to be like everyone else.
Right.
We want to stay in our lane. And so I think it's about pivoting and picking that sweet spot where you feel like you own this little niche and people get what you do, but not so small that you don't transform the customer.
That's right. That is the journey of brand building. Brand building doesn't require just, from the get-go, you need to know what you do, you need to know what you sell, you need to know the whole gamut of just, this is my brand. No, it's like getting to know you.
Yes.
It's getting to know yourself. The journey of like, how did you start and where are you now and how did you pivot and then go through those next move. So it's knowing your vision, but also knowing some sort of roadmap and
Yeah.
flexible enough for you to grow.
Yeah.
A powerful brand should give you enough adaptation for you to grow, but not to the point that it's too big that you just don't know what
That's
you are selling.
Yeah. And the other thing I love about it is, you're so right about time, because only through time were we able to experience working with our own team.
Yes.
Going through challenges together, going through hard times with customers and things, and we started to see our values showed up. Like we kind of started off, you know us yourself a little bit, but not fully. But it's through time that we're like, we are that type that is love, and we only want to work with people like that. And so, you're so right. It's not something you can rush.
And I had like an experience with one of my client. They've been around for about 16 years in kids protection gear, and their product has been used even by the royal family. So Prince George. Throughout the time, they said, we are one of the biggest. We can actually come up with so many different colors, range, product, A to Z. Done everything, right? But when you look into the business, the effort that you need to actually market
that many
10,000 products,
yes,
then just having one hero products, if you look at the margin, it's a massive difference. I am one of those experiences, as I had that experience like you, where when I first started my agency, I thought, no, we should be the one stop it all, right?
Yeah.
Done it all. We can, when your client says, can you do this one too? Oh yeah, I can do that too. Can you do this one too? Yeah, I can do that too, right? And then your business is directed by your client, not you. Mm-hmm. And you start adding more team members, start building this up. It becomes this massive thing. But for you to run it when you are actually not passionate to be doing all those stuff, you'll potentially probably be out of a business soon because you just hate doing them. For me, it's actually being truthful to yourself and where you want to go in your business.
Look, there's so much to talk about when it comes to branding, so thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this. But if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. But I think the key takeaway for me is branding is a journey and it's about pivoting. I really love that's kind of like the way I feel it now. It didn't come in here thinking that way. I was really just thinking about the name and all that, but I really love that we explored and got that takeaway for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let us know if you've learned anything, and I'll put all of Delia's information in the description below. And otherwise, we'll see you again in the next video. Bye.